Tell people what you want. This advice changed the entire trajectory of my career. My name is Anjali. I run a story practice called Narrative, the Business of Stories for the last 25 years. I'm born and brought up in India. For the last 25 years, I've worked in international markets. First, I want to take you to the movie Devil Wears Prada 2. I don't know if you've seen it or no, but if you have seen it, there is this one particular scene in the movie where Andy is telling Miranda Priestley, so Miranda Priestley is the boss if you haven't seen the movie, and Andy is one of the valuable employees. Andy is telling Miranda that Nigel, who's also their colleague, always wants to rise, actually wants to get a promotion and take over maybe Miranda's position. But Miranda's like, no, if he wanted that, he would have told me. I don't think he wants that. And he says, no, he does. And then she recognizes it and gives him the opportunity to represent the company at a public event on the stage. In that moment, I felt, oh my God, so many of us do not tell people what do we want. We just put our head down, work really hard, and think somebody will notice and give us that next big opportunity. Don't do that. For me, in my career, there are 3 moments where I have gotten what I want just because I have verbalized it. Let's go back to the year 2006. In 2006, I was working in Australia, and my then boss, her name was Kim Ashton, called me from a performance appraisal. I filled my performance appraisal form, printed a copy for myself, I printed a copy for my boss. We went in, and my boss said, okay, I'll have a look at this, but I want to ask you, why do you come to work every day? Now, I was in my early 20s at that time. I rolled my eyes and I thought, oh my God, what a philosophical question. I do not want to answer this question. But my boss, very seasoned, just stared at me and created an awkward silence and tension and waited for me to respond. I did respond in utmost honestly. I responded by saying that I want to be a general manager by the time I'm 29. Before I hit 30, I want to be a GM. She looked at me and I thought, I know what's coming. She's going to turn around and say to me, typical Indian, wants to get there before everybody else, and that's not going to happen. But what she said to me really surprised me. She said, this performance appraisal is done. Now, to make you a GM before you're 29 is my ambition. After that day, she made my life really, really miserable, but in a very good way. She would give me opportunities that were so big, so difficult. And, she'll put me in front of senior leaders to present. My palms would sweat way beyond the scope of my role. But every time I showed resistance, she looked at me and she said to me, don't we want to be a GM by the time we are 29? I progressed so much in that organization because I verbalized and I had a leader who was willing to listen. Let's move to the second story. This also is in Australia. It's when I became pregnant. I was pregnant, and the narrative in the office was, once you're pregnant, you never return to work. You go on your maternity leave, you have your baby. It's in Australia, it's not like India where you have family support, you have helpers, you have nothing. It's you, your baby, and your husband, right? You have to figure it out. Most women do not return to work. They look for part-time jobs at the best, most of them. I was very determined that I'm going to come back to work. My career meant a lot to me. Now, I remember one particular day going up to my boss and telling her about my pregnancy and then telling her, but I want to assure you I will come back from maternity leave. I want to continue my career. My boss said, we'll see. I could see that she also didn't believe that I would come back. I kept, in every meeting, in every discussion, I would say to her, I'm coming back. This project at that time would be in this stage. I'm happy to take over. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. I'm coming back. One day, a dear friend of mine stopped me and said, how are you so sure you're going to come back? I said, even I am not sure. But the best thing I can do is to keep telling the organization that I'm going to come back and they have to keep my position. Guess what? My baby was born. I came back. And on my very last day before I left for the maternity leave, my boss said to me, I know you're coming back. I had said it so many times that it had gotten into her head. I know you're coming back. We're waiting for you. This big project, we will only hand over to you when you come back to work. Now, when I came back to work, that's where I want to pivot to the third story. I came back, I took on the project, I delivered the project, but it was not the same me. I had a baby now, so I couldn't work like I used to work in the past. After delivering the project, I felt like I fulfilled my responsibility, but it was really, really hard to continue the way I used to work with having a little one at home. The biggest guilt I felt was I would come home at 5:36 and it'll be time for my baby to go back to bed, and I wouldn't be there to spend enough time with her. And that guilt started building upon me. And at that time, I thought, now I understand why most women don't go back and they quit. So I'm going to quit too. But a mentor of mine said, "You've always believed in telling people what you want. Why don't you do the same?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Can you tell your boss that you will continue working and you will do it to the same capability with the same determination? However, you need change in working hours. You want to finish at 3 o'clock, go home, and then work from home." I'm talking 2007. There was no such thing as work from home. But I asked for it and they gave that to me, and I managed to continue my career. I told them what I wanted. What is it that I'm telling you through all these stories? What I'm saying is that if you want something, you have to say. Do not deny yourself that opportunity by just sitting and thinking, they're never going to agree to this, they're never going to believe this. You have to try. If they don't agree to it, you never had that anyway. But don't make a decision in your head that you will not get there. So if there is a promotion you want, if there's a project you want, you have to make the management aware of what you want. Because when you make them aware of what you want, you become that clear idea in their mind, and they go, here's a person who's thinking of their future, therefore they're thinking of this organization's future, and if there seems to be an opportunity, they will consider you. Don't just sit. Work hard and hope someone will give you what is inside you. They will never know that. I hope that helps. Stay storied, and I'll see you here very soon with another video.